Tonight on NewsVision, Israel at war. A conflict that's raging thousands of miles away hits close to home for many students and Miami residents.
They're seeing innocent people die on both sides. It doesn't matter if you're Jewish, it doesn't matter if you're Muslim or Christian, like no one should have to go through this.
Plus, one hotel in South Beach may turn into more permanent housing for some low-income residents, a decision that is causing controversy.
We should be the people to push forward, start a lawsuit. This way other cities can join us. I'm positive that they will.
And later on, how a boxing gym in Miami is helping at-risk youngsters stay safe.
The overall goal of my life is to teach people to fight and be strong and be fully self-expressed and learn to honor themselves. So our slogan is we teach kids to fight so they don't.
These stories and a lot more on tonight's episode of NewsVision. It starts right now.
Good evening and welcome to NewsVision. I'm Regina Potenza.
And I'm Andrew Klein. Thank you for joining us. Our top story tonight is the war in Israel. We have team coverage and reactions as the Miami community and the world responds.
Hamas murdered hundreds of Israelis, men, women, and children.
Israel is at war. But though Israel didn't start this war, Israel will finish it.
For almost 2 weeks now, Israel and Hamas have been at war, with both sides seeing casualties up in the thousands.
Joining us now is Harvey Duplock with an update on how the conflict has progressed.
More than 4,000 dead, at least 15,000 injured, and some 1.5 million civilians displaced after 12 days of war between Israel and the Palestinian militant group Hamas. The conflict began on October 7th when Hamas launched over 2,000 rockets into Israel and invaded the Jewish nation. What followed has been described as a nightmare. Hamas gunmen went door to door in Israel, killing hundreds of soldiers and civilians, including women and children, and taking hundreds more hostage.
It was animal slaughter. It's like they take all the animals to one place and shoot them all.
Less than 24 hours after the terrorist attacks, Israel declared war on Hamas, launching numerous airstrikes on the Gaza Strip, with the Israeli defense minister saying, quote, "What was in Gaza will no longer be." The current conflict began in 1948 with the founding of Israel. The Jewish state is surrounded by Arab countries that have at times opposed its existence. Now, terrorist groups like Hezbollah and Hamas continue to attack Israel and oppose the Oslo Accords, which is a decades-old peace treaty between Israel and the Palestine Liberation Organization. The ongoing war is between Israel and Hamas, not Israel and the Palestinians. Hamas members live in Gaza, so Israel's response will lead to collateral damage.
Can't lose sight of the fact that the overwhelming majority of Palestinians had nothing to do with Hamas. They're suffering as a result as well.
Israel initiated a complete blockade of supplies entering Gaza, cutting off all water, power and food entering the area. It then ordered the evacuation of over 1 million Palestinians living in northern Gaza, forcing them to flee south as Israel prepares to launch a ground invasion in the coming days.
We are trying now to move the civilians so that they will not be hurt, and we want to go in and uproot that infrastructure of terror.
And once we'll see that the situation will be permissible for significant combat operations, then they will commence.
But currently, the 2 million residents of Gaza have nowhere to go because the territory's only other neighbouring country, Egypt, said that it would not open its borders to Palestinian refugees. Meanwhile, the United States is doing all it can to bring all the American citizens in the area home.
I assured them my personal commitment to do everything possible to return every missing American to their families.
Yesterday, President Biden landed in Israel and met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Israeli President Isaac Herzog and spoke on a number of topics. President Biden said he will ask Congress for an unprecedented support package, said there's no higher priority than to bring American hostages home, and that Israel has agreed to allow aid into Gaza.
Based on the understanding that there will be inspections, and that the aid should go to civilians, not to Hamas, Israel agreed the humanitarian assistance can begin to move from Egypt to Gaza.
It's currently not known when the aid trucks will be able to enter Gaza. Harvey Duplock, UMTV.
Thank you, Harvey. This week, several planes landed in the United States carrying American citizens who had been trapped in Israel. The first flight carrying U.S. residents who were in Israel when the war started landed at Tampa International Airport. Florida partnered with the nonprofit group called Project Dynamo to help hundreds of Floridians return home safely.
First big plane load, 270 people here. I think if you were watching, you saw a lot of families with young kids. So a lot of these people were in a real pinch. They had no help. They were not able to get out of Israel. And the state of Florida stepped up and answered the call.
The flights were entirely paid for by the state of Florida and Governor DeSantis. The flights will take supplies to Israel as well as bring Americans home.
And here on campus, student support for Israel continues. UM's Jewish organizations have hosted various gatherings so far and are hosting another rally tonight at The Rock. Daryl Barnes now joins us live with more. Daryl, this is just one of the many events that have been going on this past week, right?
Exactly, Andrew. This rally was the second overall and third overall event gathering by the Jewish student organizations, period, since the war on Israel started. If you came to us just a few minutes ago, you'd be able to see people out here dancing and singing still, just to come together and celebrate. We have some video from earlier today, though, showing what was going on. People coming together, again, supporting each other. That has been the big message for these 7 different Jewish student orgs on campus since things happened in Israel. Since coming to UM in July, Rabbi Jason Cook has supported Jewish students by leading services. But last week, that role grew.
What we kind of actually didn't expect was the huge outpouring of students, of university, of community, of everybody wanting to come together.
The UM Hillel Room is usually filled with students, but after the war broke out in Israel, it hosted a vigil, becoming a gathering place for Miami's entire Jewish community.
We in Miami-Dade County stand with Israel, with the Jewish people, with all of the people that are suffering, and we will always stand for those who champion democracy.
An estimated 20% of UM's 16,000 students are Jewish. So in support of Israel, various UM Jewish organizations have hosted multiple events to give students and the community a sense of purpose.
This can be really challenging on lots of people's mental health, knowing that I directly can't do anything about it, but we can pray, we can wrap tefillin, we can do the small things that really are the big things.
And it's shown Cook just how strong this place is.
Now I know what this community means. Now I know what it means for the Jewish community to show up for each other and the UM community at large to show up for each other, because we put out every single chair that we have in this building, and it wasn't enough.
And his message through it all:
showing up matters. Show up for each other, care about each other, love each other, and the world can and will be a better place for it, and conflict will end.
More events like these as the war goes on. Some public, like the one today hosted by the Jewish Comparative Law Society, and then others private. But the consensus seems to be that coming together is what's best for everybody. Live from The Rock, Daryl Barnes, UMTV.
Thank you, Daryl. Many University of Miami students have friends and family in Israel. I met with some of them. University of Miami junior Alexis Horowitz lost a friend on October 7th. Neda Epstein was one of hundreds of people killed in the Hamas terrorist attacks on Israel.
My friend was murdered. The story behind it is truly heroic, and a Hamas terrorist threw a grenade into his apartment, and he was with his girlfriend at the time, and he jumped in front of the grenade to save his girlfriend.
Alexis is very worried for her family and friends who live in Israel.
They're seeing innocent people die on both sides. It doesn't matter if you're Jewish, it doesn't matter if you're Muslim or Christian, like no one should have to go through this. And my friends are being deployed on the front lines, you know, to defend the Jewish state.
And Horowitz is not alone. Dozens of UM students are directly impacted by the war in Israel.
I also have an extended family member. He was an American who came to become an IDF soldier, and he was actually stationed near the border with Gaza, and he was kidnapped by Hamas. We haven't heard from him since Saturday, which is unfortunate and really, really like a situation that I wouldn't wish on anybody.
21-year-old Danielle Chaham finished 2 years of service in the IDF earlier this year and now lives in Miami. When the war began, she re-enlisted and will deploy as soon as her Israeli insurance papers are approved.
I'm planning to go back because I want to go help and instruct the combat soldiers before they go in. All of my friends who are in my unit, they're all already there, like teaching and helping the soldiers out, trying to get them to refresh their memory, because what they're doing is they're taking people who haven't shot in years to go fight.
Danielle also told me that she will fight on the front lines in honor of her former commander, who died on the first day of war after serving for years in the Mossad, the Israel Special Ops Division.
And speaking of on-campus impact, UMTV got a chance to speak with a prominent Jewish figure in the community. We're joined now by Charlie Hill, who sat down with Rabbi Mendy Felig at Chabad at the University of Miami. Charlie?
Thanks, Andrew. I'm here at Chabad with Rabbi Felig. Thank you so much for joining us. So first, how is Chabad responding to the conflict in Israel going on right now in relation to students on campus?
So really, I would say the best way Chabad can support the students is personally, helping them with a shoulder to cry on or an ear to listen, as well as helping them in their activism to make sure it's the right kind of activism. At times like this, there's a lot of rage, there's a lot of anger, a lot of emotions, and the main thing is we want to make sure that while we get to express our support, we're doing it in a way that's helpful and in a way that doesn't harm other communities. We want to make sure that everybody is supported in a way that works.
How are you feeling right now about the community?
The university has been very supportive from day one. President Frank, I thought, sent out a really good statement that really addressed a lot of the issues in an appropriate way. Dr. Whiteley and Dean Holmes have been extremely helpful, as well as many of the other administrators have reached out to offer support, and it's unwavering. But I am very proud of the university. I'm very proud to say that I spend my time every day here with the students and the faculty and administration at the University of Miami.
Right. Thank you so much, Rabbi Felig, for speaking with us today.
Thank you, Charlie. During difficult times, it is inspiring to see how the community comes together, even when the conflict is more than 6,000 miles away. Over the past 10 days, the Miami community has gathered at various places to show their support for Israel. One rally took place at the Holocaust Memorial in Miami Beach.
I think it's a terrible thing that's happening. I'm so sad about all the things that Israel is going through. It can't happen. People cannot just kill, especially children.
The rally ended with people singing the national anthem of Israel, which is a beacon of hope in these violent times.
Palestinian demonstrators have also taken to the streets to protest the Israeli occupation and the war in Gaza. Caitlin Kacharski attended one local pro-Palestinian rally to hear what South Florida residents are saying about the conflict in the Middle East.
Free, free, free Palestine.
Clinical operations consultant Mohammed Al-Jarmeh lives in Miami, but his heart belongs to the land of the Palestinians in the Middle East. Mohammed joined dozens of protesters in Hollywood Beach, Florida on Sunday, October 15th to voice support for the Palestinian people in the war that Israel launched on the militant Palestinian organization Hamas.
We would like for the Palestinian cause to be heard by Western democracies, which have been very, very biased toward the state of Israel.
More than 50 people came together to demand an end to the Israeli occupation and the killing of civilians in the Gaza Strip.
Palestinians
just want peace. Palestinians don't have the power that Israel has. All we can do is use our voices and protest.
Many pro-Palestinian protesters say they feel betrayed by the United States.
When Blinken went to Israel on the second day of the attack, he said, I came here as a Jew, meaning he is advocating for a religious war.
Most cars driving past honked in support, but some slowed down, fully stopped, and their passengers shouted profanities at the demonstrators. And that was not the only confrontation. A small group of Israeli supporters also staged their counter-protest across the street.
This is a pleasure for us to oppose the Islamic Nazis across the street.
Pro-Palestinian demonstrators continuously chanted,
"From the river to the sea! From the river to the sea! Palestine will be free!"
which led pro-Israeli protesters across the street to shout back,
"Kill the baby killers! Kill Hamas!"
Since the war began more than a week ago, thousands of Israelis and Palestinians have been killed. But while the groups hold strongly opposing views, both want to see the fighting and bloodshed to end.
God bless the Jewish people, and God bless the Jewish survivors of the Holocaust, and God bless everybody else who's fighting this insanity.
If you're a person who is close to God and you have a heart for humanity, you should care to learn about both sides and which makes more sense to you.
Caitlin Kaczarski, UMTV.
Time for a short break now, but when NewsVision returns, we'll tell you why one historic South Beach hotel is in the middle of a controversy. This and a lot more coming up. Stay with us.
Owen, let's talk for a second.
Hi, Ellen. Come on in.
When you came into my life, it was a whirlwind.
I just can't do it.
It'll come to you.
It won't.
We had a lot to learn about each other. A lot. Hey, looks good. Things were changing so quickly. We didn't know what the future would hold. Any of us. I just wish you felt more at home now. But we knew you would always be a part of it. Adopting you was the best decision in our life. And I am so proud to call you my son.
Thank you for staying with NewsVision. We enjoyed a short fall break at the beginning of this week. Andrew, did you go anywhere?
Regina, I did. I went to Chicago. It was a little too cold for my liking, to be honest.
Oh, the Windy City. Well, I was enjoying the Caribbean weather, and I heard from everyone who stayed in Miami that the weather here was finally nice and even a little bit chilly.
Well, joining us right now is student meteorologist Quinn Davidson.
Quinn, is it finally fall in Miami?
I'll say we had a little taste of fall. It was our coldest day on Tuesday since March. It was a high of 77 degrees. We'll take it. Looking right now, we have cloud coverage expanding over South Florida, those clouds flowing in from the Gulf of Mexico here. And we have a very strange setup on our futurecast. We have a lot of moisture associated with a stationary front to our south and a drier air mass to our north. Tomorrow, we have that chance of showers and storms developing just to the south of us here in Miami-Dade County. It's going to basically skim that coastline. So for sure, if you live along the East Coast metropolitan areas or in southern Miami-Dade County or the Keys, be sure to have an umbrella handy in your morning commute tomorrow. There's our cold front stringing down through the Florida Peninsula, moving through, which is going to drop our overnight lows on Saturday to a very comfortable temperature around 71 degrees. Our high will be 89, though, however, very warm for this time of year, and temperatures continuing to trend downwards to the mid to low 80s. And looking at Tropical Storm Tammy, which is sitting just to the east of the Lesser Antilles, 60-mile-per-hour storm moving west-northwest, going to increase into a Category 1 hurricane before making landfall in Guadalupe. So there's hurricane warnings there and tropical storm watches and warnings across the Lesser Antilles. Wyatt?
Thank you, Quinn. A building in South Florida might be closing its doors as a hotel. The Clevelander in South Beach has announced plans to give local residents new real estate. The Clevelander Hotel is one of the most recognizable landmarks on Miami Beach. But But the city is facing a housing affordability crisis, which has led the owners of the hotel to pitch a redevelopment plan that they say would help city employees have more affordable living options.
It's obvious that we need to find housing solutions closer to Miami Beach. It's a tourist-driven market, and the tourists aren't going to enjoy their experience if there's no one working in the cafes and bars and restaurants and hotels, etc.
According to the Jester Group, the owner of the Clevelander Hotel, talks with the city of Miami Beach to replace the hotel with a 30-story condominium building have been ongoing for weeks. But ownership has not yet submitted a site application plan, leaving city commissioners and residents uncertain about the future of the hotel and development on Miami Beach. Here on Ocean Drive in Miami Beach, tourists have visited this 75-year-old hotel for decades. And all of a sudden, the property may not be changing since the Jester Group failed to submit its proposal to the city of Miami Beach to actually build on top of the property.
We need to flex a little bit of muscle and explain to these and show that different cities are going to join in this lawsuit. Otherwise, we're going to have the same situation year after year.
In 2023, Florida passed Senate Bill 102 to incentivize developers to build more affordable housing. But the city of Miami Beach is asking other municipalities to join in on a lawsuit against the state, saying the property would change a part of Miami Beach that has looked the same for 75 years. City commissioners are telling other cities that redevelopment in their historic districts could be next.
We should be people to push forward, start a lawsuit. This way, other cities could join us. I'm positive that they will.
But the hotel still refuses to confirm the Clevelanders' plan to develop a building that would have 40% of the units considered affordable housing. Jester Group's Director of Sales and Marketing for the property, Jermaine Jordan, is instead denying any closure or redevelopment plans. Jordan declined our request for an interview, but in an emailed statement he said, quote, "Clevelander and South Beach Essex House by Clevelander are dedicated to providing our guests with a memorable experience. Our focus is to deliver on our core values of exceptional service, cleanliness, and safety. We are not closing and will continue to be at the center of it all on South Beach as we have been for over the last 75 years. We look forward to hosting our guests." For now, the future of the Clevelander Hotel is uncertain, leaving the Art Deco district of Miami Beach unclear on what it might look like in the future. But O'Brien did not confirm any current plans to redevelop the Clevelander.
I feel like a larger influx of residents to Miami Beach and retail focused on those residents is going to help balance the overall market and some of the concern that's occurred over the past couple of years where everything is focused on tourism.
Reporting for UMTV, I'm Wyatt Kopelman. Now, as of last week, the Jester Group has not presented any renderings or other financial models. The city's chief legal advisor says the Clevelanders' proposal would be rejected with it exceeding Ocean Drive's floor area ratio. And now we'll take a short break, but right after this on NewsVision, we'll take you into one boxing club in Miami that gives kids a unique opportunity. We'll be right back.
Every day, thousands of kids start vaping. And I can't let this happen to my kid. Of course, it's awkward to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping. Hey, bestie, how's sketches, baby? It's hard to get their attention. Ready? Go. Yes, look at that. You even turn yours over. So if you want to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping, you have to get it trending. Right, Backpack Kid?
Let's do it.
First, invite your kid to do the vape talk. Let's try this. All right.
Why is he here?
Yeah, I gotta get it trending, honey.
Come on. Let's go.
Oh, honey, can we talk?
Yeah, what's up?
I see a lot of your friends vaping.
Visit talkaboutvaping.org for tips on when and how to have the vape talk.
Welcome to sports. I'm Wyatt Kopelman. After deciding not to kneel the ball against Georgia Tech, Miami football went on the road to Chapel Hill, North Carolina, looking for its first ACC win. Let's take a look at the highlights. Now, Tyler Van Dyke leading the offense for Miami, trying to get it started early. He threw for nearly 400 yards in this one, found a wheel route to Jacoby George, 35 yards to the house for the Lauderdale, Florida native. But his opposing quarterback in Drake May had other ideas as well, matching him, finding Tez Walker, the Kent State transfer, lighting up early and giving North Carolina an advantage once again before halftime. Now moving into the second half here, Drake May, once again, he was considered a Heisman candidate coming into the season. He finds his new running mate in Tez Walker again, who had 3 touchdowns. Miami dropped to 0-2 in the ACC with a 41-31 loss. Here's Amarian Hampton, the tailback, going for 60 yards on this one. Mario Cristobal saying Miami had to regroup against Clemson.
They came on the second half, took the momentum with the big play and the touchdown, and then we had a successive series where we turned the ball over. One, I believe, was on a snap, the other one on an interception. Then find ourselves at the end just trying to catch up, with time running pretty quickly.
And while football hit the road, Hurricanes women's soccer returned home to Coral Gables. The team looked for another conference win on Saturday at Cobb Stadium. Miami was away for 3 straight matches and played NC State, but both teams kept each other scoreless on a humid evening as they combined for just 5 shots on goal. Miami head coach Sarah Barnes said she thought the team created better scoring opportunities than in those 3 straight losses on the road. The Canes are back on the pitch tonight against Virginia in Charlottesville. And in a world where the battle against bullying affects far too many children, one South Florida gym steps into the ring to fight bullying and train the next generation. Ryan Marshall has the story.
Fighting often gets a bad rap, but in reality it can be very beneficial in a controlled environment. One after-school program in Miami Beach teaches at-risk kids respect, discipline, and self-defense through the sport of boxing.
The overall goal of my life is to teach people to fight and be strong and be fully self-expressed and learn to honor themselves. So our slogan is we teach kids to fight so they don't.
Jolie Glassman founded Jolie's Kids in 2014 and has been living that motto ever since. The program is run out of South Beach Boxing on Tuesday and Thursday afternoons by head trainer Romeo Montana, whose mission is to help children through boxing, just like it helped him.
My dad put me in it to keep me off the streets, and it worked. And, I didn't get in trouble, and thank God I'm still here doing what I do, doing what I love. So I want my kids to do the same.
And it's here on the gym floor where kids are using punching bags like these to perfect their jabs, hooks, and uppercuts, but they're also learning valuable life lessons to take with them outside of the ring.
17-year-old Keyshawn has been in the program since he was 12. He picked up boxing as an outlet to control his anger.
When I was much younger, I was a lot more aggressive, a lot more, angrier, and this just like, I was able to take my anger on something like a punching bag.
And for an amateur boxer with Olympic dreams, the Jolie's Kids program has greatly changed Keyshawn's life outside of the ring.
But it's helped out Keyshawn a great deal. He's much more, like I said, very calm, very cool, very collective. He's very respectful.
While the training in the Jolie's Kids program is tough, the friendships the kids make in the gym are meaningful.
But our kids play better together than any environment. In boxing, which is funny, where they are fighting, they don't fight. It's only like while they're fighting in the ring, and then they touch gloves and hug after.
And Jolie and Romeo are certain that the lessons and skills the kids learn in the gym will stick with them for the rest of their lives. Ryan Marshall, UMTV.
Up next on the program, some firefighters have been lingering on campus all day. Find out why when we return.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving, the ultimate party foul.
And finally tonight, students are getting a chance to speak with the people who keep the campus community safe. Melanie Lowe joins us live at the Mahoney Pearson patio. Melanie, what's going on?
Thanks, Regina. Tonight, the University of Miami Police Department is hosting a night out with first responders. Students, faculty, and everyone else have a really unique opportunity to come out and talk with the people who are working around the clock to keep our campus community safe. Everyone is welcome. As you can see behind me, there's food, drinks, little gadgets over here. It's definitely going to be a fun time. You don't want to miss it. So come on down to chat with first responders from UMPD, Coral Gables Fire and Rescue, and the Office of Emergency Management. In Coral Gables, Melanie Lowe, UMPD.
Thank you, Melanie. Well, we really appreciate firefighters here. I mean, yesterday I was stuck in an elevator with 17 other people, and the Miami-Dade firemen came and saved us, and it was really helpful.
Yeah, thank goodness. I mean, that is scary. Elevators are not something to mess with, but thankfully we got firefighters, police station to keep us safe, especially being here on campus as college students.
Oh, exactly. And that's all the time we have for this edition of NewsVision. Thank you so much for tuning in.
But don't worry, we'll be here next week at the same time, same place. Have a great night.